April 15th is tax day, which is the deadline to file your taxes. But after hearing this, you may not be so excited about those refund checks each year. Undocumented immigrants, they've been paying billions in taxes every single year, thinking oftentimes that it might help their case or at least show that they're playing by the rules, because this is part of the lie around immigration, is that undocumented folks don't play by the rules, that they don't pay taxes. Same thing we say about poor people. Poor people don't pay taxes. Yeah, they do. And so it's important to know that the tax base is formed also by these people who you say are sucking away from the economy when in fact they're contributing greatly to it. But anyway, Trump is back in office and he just greenlit a deal to flip the same tax info, that very tax revenue and all the info accompanying it, into a deportation tool. The Department of Homeland Security and the IRS just signed a low-key agreement. There's no press conference. There was no big splash, but they agreed to let ICE tap into IRS records. Now, if ICE thinks somebody is here illegally and already has a deportation order, they can give the IRS that person's name. IRS then checks it against their files, addresses, data, all of it, and sends it back confirmed. Now, that's big because the IRS has long protected that info, even from other agencies, other government agencies. Undocumented folks were encouraged to file taxes like it was the responsible thing to do. And now that same good faith move is being flipped into a trap. The deal's got redacted parts, so we don't even know everything that's being shared. We don't know all the data that's being given away, but we do know artificial intelligence might be used to analyze the data. We know the IRS hasn't yet handed over anything, but the deal is in fact in place. And we know the Supreme Court just gave Trump more muscle to speed up deportations using basically colonial era laws. And here's the kicker. Immigrant groups, immigrant rights groups, not just immigrants themselves, but groups advocating for immigrants, have sued to stop this. A judge didn't just respond with what I think will be a reasonable and fair and just interpretation of the law. No. They just scheduled another hearing. And by the way, a proper interpretation of the law would be to just block the deal. But they don't do that. They just scheduled another hearing. Meanwhile, the DOJ, Trump's DOJ, says that this is all lawful. So ask yourself, if the IRS can break its own rules for them, what's to stop them from doing it to you? Nobody is safe. Some of you think that your citizenship will save you. I'm a citizen, I'm documented, I'm this, I'm that. None of that is going to matter. At the end of the day, Trump's DOJ is doing what Trump's DOJ is going to do. And it operates not in the interest of citizens, only in the interest of the oligarchy. And that ain't you, and that ain't me. For the most part, it ain't any of us except in a very tiny section of the populace. But more importantly here, we have to think about not just sort of how we talk about immigration, how we talk about deportation, but think about the bigger consequences of our actions. Our choices right now to deport, to criminalize, to hide, what is it going to do? Is it going to stop people from coming across the southern border? Is it going to stop people from overstaying visas coming from various places around the world? No, because the reason people stay is not because they're criminals. They don't stay because they're just difficult, stubborn, recalcitrant people. They stay because the conditions where they are unbearable. And they choose here partly because, yeah, it's a better option, but also because the United States helps create the very conditions that cause them to leave. People don't, it's not just a push from Mexico, it's a pull from the United States. And so we have to think about the overall policy and what we can do to change those policies. Otherwise, what are we talking about? Otherwise, what are we doing here? Yeah. It's really that simple. But please keep an eye on this. I'm hearing people talk about immigration in some very problematic and dangerous ways. I heard Jasmine Crockett, who I like a great deal and respect a great deal, say, we're not picking cotton anymore, right? And I know what she was trying to say. And I don't think she was trying to demonize immigration or anything like that. And I don't think she was trying to reduce immigration to slavery or any of those things. I would think that's not what she was doing. In fact, I'm sure that's not what she was doing. However, the discourse itself has become so bad faith and so polluted that people will use those kinds of comments in ways that are disingenuous. So and I agree with you, Shayla, it was a cringe moment. It was so inartfully stated and so unclearly articulated what the actual point was that it's very easy to end up with a bad faith conversation or a bad faith argument. That said, we got to do something different about an immigration debate. We got to do something different about an immigration conversation. We have to. But what the IRS is doing right now for ICE is just a reminder that this isn't a single strand of a problem. This is a multi-pronged, multi-threaded problem that needs to be resolved. And understand that the Trump administration is going to use every bullet in its proverbial gun to attack, weaponize, criminalize, demonize, and ultimately erase a very significant part of our population here in the United States. So we got to stay on top of that.